in the corner, and we have not had a single normal game on it. So
Yeah.
recipe for disaster is a nice way of putting it, actually. And you know, that would be an interesting match too, because Vivid during this team league has shown that he is actually quite good at the game, always getting better. And I think he's been really impressive so far. And Initiative is a guy that I don't believe we've casted on stream just yet. But
Yeah, I
he
think
is
this is
a
his
Terran
first time.
player. Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is the first time playing for 1F Pro this season. But he is a player who gets a bit of help from some of the top Terrans around our scene anyway. I know he asks Hut for advice, sometimes Cedar for advice as well. So, like, he is learning from the best. So it could be interesting to see what he can bring out on the table.
Yeah, it will be fantastic to get a taste of his play style later on the broadcast here. Map number 2, Abyssal Reef between Igus and Mia Micah. ZVZ, that'd be a fun one. And you had some insights on this one, didn't you?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be my favorite, or basically the one to watch tonight, I think. Mia Micah obviously being Mia Micah, as we all know, and Igus just being that strong, solid player as Terran. But he has translated quite well over to Zerg in his transition, and he's powered right up into, I'd say, at least Tier 2 Zerg in our region. Like, he's probably at the top end of the Tier 2 already. And he's getting close to breaking through, and next WCS we could see some big things out of Igus as Zerg. But this matchup in particular, Mia Micah doesn't really go into the Ling Bane phase too much in ZVZ. And Igus, I think that's his weakness, really, in ZVZ right now. But if Mia Micah doesn't really go into that kind of stage, I see a bit of favour for Igus.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Igus hasn't had the best of luck in the ZVZs I've watched him in so far, and he's had a bit of a rough time in the team league in that scenario in the ZVZs. So I think Mia Micah is a bit of a tricky player for anyone because he's just so strange. The way he plays, it's not how anyone else plays, so it makes him very difficult to prepare for. So I will give him a bit of an upper hand in that regard, but like you said, you know, if Igus can just stick around, I think he certainly does have the capacity to overcome him. And then we have Blackpink, of course, for another ZVZ between Demi and Wally. Now, Demi has solidified his stance as one of the better Zergs in the region now. Wally, a guy who's kind of been here and come and gone a little bit during that time. So I'm actually not sure how he'll match up against Demi. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
Wally is very good at playing with the mind in ZVZ, and I think that plays well for Wally going into the match against Demilove. Demilove, strongest overall for sure. But Wally, even though he's quite casual in his play with StarCraft these days, he still puts in a little bit of practice and is still one of the top Zergs in our region. So if he can play the mind game versus Demi, keep Demi guessing what Wally's up to in the best of one, Wally has a very strong chance here.
Yeah, for sure. He's quite a solid Zerg, and he was definitely around in the thick of that Zerg versus Zerg fest we had in our region, where it's just like non-stop ZVZs from people. So he made a name for himself during that period for sure. And I expect good things from him up against Demi. So that brings us to our final match for the night, and hopefully we get there so that we can go to the ace match and figure out who each team is going to throw out there. But Fuely versus Yours, and Yours is one of those rising stars in our region, has gotten very, very good recently. And I've been quite impressed with his play so far. Similarly, Fuely, I know, has been turning some heads in the local tournaments. This is the first time I've casted him, I think, in this team league in general through this season, because we have seen him a couple of times come out, I believe. And I can't think of who he played against. I think it was a TVT, actually. I think he came up against Hut, so I'm keen to see how he goes in a TVZ.
Yeah, he did come up against Hut in the first week of the season. And according to Hut did find himself in a bit of a spot. Actually, those games did get casted. And yeah, Fuely was in a very nice position, but Hut was just doing a very good job holding on. And managed to just kind of play out the game from there. But in TVZ at the moment, both these players, I feel yours did have that huge spike, but during the season he seems a little shaky. So
Yeah.
Fury, if he has a good build, he executes well, could see something happen.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, with the availability of players tonight, we've had to mix up the order of the maps a little bit. So for our first match, we're actually going to be going into Demi versus Wally on Blackpink. It seems we're having some technical and timing issues for the other players, so to avoid keeping you guys waiting, let's get this lobby started between Demi and Wally. Kick things off with a ZVZ in true C fashion. Actually pretty hyped for this one.
Yeah, definitely second match to watch tonight as well. So just waiting for Demi left to ready up. But yeah, Blackpink, very standard map, ZVZ. There's not a lot of cheeky stuff you can kind of do on this map. It just kind of comes down to if you're going to go early pull and bust the front or just play out of macro.
Yeah, that's always the question, isn't it? Like,
Oh, that's my bad.
Are we going to have those sort of super aggressive games come out of these guys? Because typically, like in that best of one map scenario, yeah, I haven't seen people be quite as ballsy, you know, like they're not as eager to go for that cheesy sort of strategy straight off the bat. But that said, I think there's been maybe one ZVZ where we did see that happen. So I guess time will tell what these guys are gonna do now. Okay, looks like Demi's here.
Demi's there.
All is well.
Alrighty. So, who do we have up here in the top right, Zeph?
In the top right, spawning in the blue, on Blackpink for OSC Elite, this is Demi.
And down in the bottom left, the green Zerg whipping out a 12 pill to start us off here, Zeph. Representing 1F Pro, it is Wally.
Well spotted, and we do have that early pull from Wally. I guess if there's a guy to do this sort of strategy, it's got to be him, right?
Yeah, like Wally. If it's not Winter doing 12 pulls in ZVZ, it's Wally. And he's going to get a bit of the benefit of the doubt here, getting 12 pull against a hatchery first from Demi here.
Yeah, this is always an interesting scenario because the defense on this one requires a lot of patience and a bit of finesse in terms of buying time and being able to make do with what you've got. And Demi's gone for that very standard hatch first, then gas, then pull build. So he's delaying his units as much as you possibly can. Now, the blessing for him is that Wally didn't dive straight into speed and banelings or anything like that. It is like a more economic version of it, having dropped that hatchery at the natural while he moves out.
Yeah, and he's probably not going to commit too much of links here, seeing the hatchery first. If he can see that, might just go straight for the hatchery kill and then just go back to being economic. Like, this is a very nice spot here. The pill's only just finished. Lings are being started now by Demi Love, and look at that hatchery take damage.
Yeah, it adds up very quickly, and if you want to hold on to this, you do actually have to pull drones off the line, and down comes Demi now with a whole bunch of them. He's going to try and minimize losses here while his lings come out. They are almost there, but it's always tricky to get them all together and engaging these lings of the opponent in a way such that you can take them all out, keep the hatchery alive, and hopefully not lose too many drones at the same time. He's actually having a real hard time finding the angle.
Yeah, Queen about to pop out here. That's going to help with his defense, but there's a lot of drones in the front there in the fight, and there's a lot of legs here for Wally. He's getting so many drones here. Demi down to 10 drones, gets out. Oh, loses 9 drones. A little rough. He gets a hatchery out of it, but oh man, that's a lot of drones to lose.
Yeah, it certainly is. Wally's only a couple ahead, but you know, that's ahead nonetheless, especially in a low economy situation where both players are continuing to make links. That really does count. So not totally sure about that ramp position there. Maybe he could have saved the drones by sending them back a little earlier. I'm not sure. But this is going to be a nice pickup for Demi for sure.
Yeah, that not quite a supply block, but it's just enough to throw him off. Luckily, Demi didn't get too flustered by the attack, and he was able to keep his drones on gas and get speed at the right time as well. So straight up Ling Flood shouldn't really kill him here. Like, Demi's up in army right now as well. He's got 2 queens. This Ling fight, well, he's got to be careful here. Can't engage directly.
Definitely. And because he has that slightly larger amount of links, he could actually push the issue across the map, and it looks like he's going to do just that, forcing Wally to make a few more links himself, because behind this he was trying to squeeze out a few extra drones, and now Demi's doing the similar thing, just keeping his opponent honest there and deciding to pull right back.
Yeah, it's still a good opening, I think, here for Wally nonetheless. He's taken Demi Love a little out of his groove. Demi may have had a slightly different plan. Early banglers coming down now here from Demi Love. Wally hasn't really kind of shown where he wants to go yet, but it looks like he's only just kind of gotten back into his gas. And he's going to take the bangling nest as well. So we've got a lot of lings out on the map already here. So this could get wild very shortly. Yeah,
Demi's actually put a lot into these lings working for him, and I think Wally's done a little bit of a better job in terms of balancing that Zergling versus drones sort of production from that lava, because he's sitting at 25 drones to the 19 of Demi at this stage. Demi's still sort of producing drones at the same rate, and of course being ahead of those workers are only going to help you make more units, maybe move up into some other tech a little bit more quickly than your opponent, and that's when they're really going to feel the pressure from you.
Yeah, this is really kind of strange play at the moment. Both places kind of gearing up. No one's even thinking about a third base as of yet. I think Wally looks like he was going to try and take one, but saw some lings out on the map and thought otherwise. But he's pretty safe to take his third now. Demilove hasn't even got a drone out on the map at the moment to take a third, so I don't know. This is kind of weird territory now.
Yeah, I mean, Demi's approach is
good little trade there.
Confusing. All right, looks like he's going to push across the map. He really doesn't want to let him have that third base, so fair enough.
I think we just saw a bit of a ling hit there on Wally's lings, but he still has plenty to carry across the map. He's still up in workers. It looks like he's wanting to be the one to be aggressive. Keep Demi at home while he's taking his third base. Runs in, finds no third base for Demilove, and looks like Wally's going to ramp up the pressure now.
Certainly is, and he's done a really great job of baiting out Bane hits. He's got a bunch of his own out here on the field, and it's going to be tough to micro around this. Banelings from both sides coming in from all different angles. That's a little bit of a hard one to micro. Like, I can barely see who's Banelings there.
Yeah, Demi actually lost a lot of lings in that fight, and Wally's got so much control right now. He can go in for an attack here. There's only a couple of Banelings out here for Demi. He's only morphing a couple. If Wally just gets a little bit of vision and only sees 2 Banelings defending that ramp, he definitely could have got a lot more aggressive, but knowing that his third base is now up and well defended, he's going up into lair, getting his extra gases, he's going to start teching.
Yeah, this is not ideal for Demi. Seeing him make so many lings and keep them at home, I really thought he was going to go for a big push, and then seeing Wally take that third base, I think maybe that sort of forced his hand, but at this stage he's quite down in the gutter. I mean, he's got to make something happen with all these units. He doesn't have a third base. He doesn't have a lair on the way, and that's not the position you want to be in. The Banelings are going to sandwich him.
He's quite cornered here. Demilove is cornered with so many of his lings. Wally played the bait really, really well there, and he's baited Demilove into a terrible fight. GG.
GG. Short and sweet ending there for Wally taking the win over Demi with a very cheeky early pull, but my goodness, did that pay off for him.
Wow, yeah, that was some crazy play there by Wally, and as I said, playing the mind of Demilove, baited out a terrible engagement there, forced Demilove into his base with all of his lings first, and then pulled the Banes up from behind. He had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one, but very well played by Wally, showing that aggressively is still a really solid player in that regard. Fantastic strategy to choose there against Demi. So he secures a point for 1F pro there. And we will need to grab ourselves the next match. So guys, not sure which player order we're going with at this stage, so it'll be a surprise for both you guys and us. We'll take a quick minute break, sort out the next lobby, and we'll be back with you shortly.